Sideboards, cupboards, desks, lowboys, highboys, and chests of drawers have legs or posts that continue up to the top, and a special lap dovetail joint is needed, called the Carcase Dovetail. If I remove the top section of this desk, stand-up desk, you can see these dovetail joints in this view on each end of that top front stretcher. It's connected to the front legs, the side rails with dovetails. I'll pull it apart so you can see the details of the joint. Pull the leg out with a dovetail joint, and then also the top front stretcher that has two dovetails that connect these three pieces. Here is a dimension drawing of just the three pieces of this particular desk with those Carcase dovetails. The leg in this view is 1 3/4 inch square. The stretcher is 3 inches wide. And the side skirt, or just the side, is 7/8 inch thick and 6 inches wide. So in this example, we'll create this Carcase dovetail joint, starting with the post or the leg, and I'm using the rectangle tool, typing in 1.75, 1.75, and there is the bottom of the leg. I'll go ahead and make this, I'm just going to make these groups in this exercise, not components. Typically, if I were doing the desk, I would make all of these things components, but in this example, I'll just use groups. Push-pull this up about a foot or so, and close that group. Then creating the side skirt, which is 7/8 inch thick, coming out on the red axis, 7/8 inch, coming back on the green axis. Go ahead and make that a group, and edit that group, use the push-pull tool, and create a 6 inch width. We won't make the mortise and tenon joints for that side, since we're concentrating now on the dovetail joint itself. Guideline is 3 inches off the front edge. That gives me the width of the top front stretcher. So I trace over those edges of the leg and the side, come back on the green axis and the red axis, and complete the beginning of that top front stretcher that connects these three components. Now, I need to give this stretcher a thickness. I've already made it a group, so I need to edit the group, grab the push-pull tool, and create the thickness. In this case, it's 1 inch thick. Close the group. So without dovetails, we've got the three components. I'll first make the dovetail that goes into the leg. And I know that its height shown on the dimension drawing is 3/4 of an inch. And I know that the top of that dovetail, the fat part of the dovetail, is 5/8 inch wide. So I've gone to the midpoint and drawn guidelines that are 5/16 off the center line. Now I can use the line tool to create the top edge of that dovetail. And with the protractor now create the angle, which is 10 degrees at both ends of that top, another 10 degrees this direction. And with a line tool, trace over that guideline, the angled guideline. And we've got the shape of the dovetail in the leg. I'll clear out the guidelines and edit the top front stretcher. And create the smaller dovetail that goes into the side. And that's 1/4 of an inch wide at the throat. And again, I'll make 10-degree dovetail guidelines. And I need to know how long that dovetail is. It's 1/2 an inch. And using the line tool, trace over the top face of that smaller dovetail. Okay, and delete the guidelines. I've got the top face, but there is a thickness of 5/8 on these dovetails. So I can use the push-pull tool and drive that dovetail to a thickness, type in 5/8, and finish the dovetail. This one is also 5/8 deep. I can also, I should have done this, open it again and use the eraser tool and clear that top edge there that is not required on the stretcher. Okay, now moving over to the side, I need a socket for this dovetail. Open it for editing and trace over the outline of the dovetail. And I can use the push-pull tool to drive that socket down 5/8 of an inch. Close the component. The only work left here is to create the socket in the top of the leg. Edit this leg and trace over the shape of the larger dovetail. And again, use the push-pull tool to drive that down, that socket down 5/8 of an inch. So it's hard to see what we've done here, so let's pull it apart. and have a look at the progress here. That looks good. Leg looks good. And we've really got a strong connection at each corner of the front of this carcass.